How's it going, everybody? Winner Kills here, and welcome to the 12th episode of the top replays and highlights video. We've got some great replays here from some of the games on my Twitch streams over the past few weeks, some submitted from my Twitch subscribers. So yeah, really excited to show you guys the replays here. And also, before we get started, I want to mention, of course, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelists. More about them down in the description below, link to their website as well, and a discount code, WinnerKills10 off, you can use to save 10% off your entire order at checkout, and my affiliate link to TCG Player down in the description below as well. Don't forget to use that if you're picking up anything off of TCG Player. So, let's get into this. The first replay I want to show you guys is just titled, Can't Stop the Rock, because sometimes you just can't stop the rock. So, here I am playing against Larry, as I usually am in most of these replays. Well, I guess not always, but, you know. Here we are. He's playing the Mech Knight deck, and I believe I am opting to go first here. I might have won the die roll, but getting started with classic BA Earth shenanigans, going Mathman, dumping a Lion to get into Cherubini, summoning out that Libic, and then sending Graf to summon Seer, going into Dante. Dante will mill 3. Luckily, I get into a Sekka's Light to be able to recycle a card in my hand. Getting into Saryuja here to be able to make some clutch plays. Huge chain links being activated here. Seer, Dante, Block Dragon resolving, then lastly, the Saryuja to draw in some more cards. Block Dragon summoning the Damage Juggler there off of the Saryuja. Going into a second Saryuja as quickly as possible. Drawing into some more cards, using that Damage Juggler there. Going into Hydralander now and resolving Danger Snake, which will summon itself out. I'll get a draw and get that Edgem Sabers out. Going into Leviair, summoning out the Trick Clown and the Hat Tricker. Going to IP Masquerena. Now he's going to use the Phantasme, which he held because he knows how this deck works. Getting very lucky there. And he's going to go into the Nibiru now this late into the game. And I'm just going to go ahead and pass there and see what he's got. He does have Draconet. Goes into Ib. Now, I'm feeling pretty okay because I've managed to draw into a Nibiru of my own. So, he's going to go ahead and try to play out his combo. And before you know it, I'm going to go ahead and drop a rock on him before he can do anything about it. So, we're going to tribute all of that away. I'm going to get my token back here. And we're just going to start playing Nibiru Beatdown. But before we can do that, he's going to go ahead and scoop. So, the rock just too strong sometimes. So here we have another user-submitted replay from, I believe, Killer Jetstorm on Twitch. This is, again, him playing his Metal Foes Zephyra Yang Zing deck that you guys might have seen in the previous episode of Top Replays and Highlights. But that was an insane combo. This one's going to play out a bit differently here, and you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. Searching the 9 pillars, and then using the Gold Driver to get counter set to his field. And then end phase using that Yang Zing Chai Wen to summon out Suwani. Now, he knows that he has an evenly matched, or could have an evenly matched here in this given point in the game, since it does not look like it might be game 1. Some side deck cards might be in play. Now, he's going to go into the battle phase preemptively with no monsters on board, so that's going to signal Killer Jetstorm here to go into Black Rose to completely wipe everything except for one monster. So completely dodging that evenly match by using that copy of Black Rose Dragon in a very unique and yet strategic way. Now going into a copy of Sunlight Wolf and using that Jack Jaguar to recycle Sunlight Wolf to trigger his Sunlight Wolf on board, sending a copy of Roar and passing it back. Drawing a copy of Chai Wen for turn, using that a copy of the Painful Choice or Painful Decision, whatever the name is. I don't want to get it mixed up with a really old banned card. You know, the one that dumps a Manila to add a Manila. Very good in Metal Foes we've seen in the past. Using the Yazi here to great effect. Going into Metal Foes Fusion. Has a combination set. Going into Beat Cop. Now going for a massive Pendulum Summon. Doesn't seem to care about giving his opponent the opportunity to add back a fire monster, since I don't even think he has one engraved to add back to begin with. Going into a copy of Mithrilium. Bouncing back a card. Now going into Boral Sword. And summoning out this Gold Driver here, and just attempting to go for game, and game it will be. So a very interesting and unique way there to take away anything from this game is how he dodged around evenly matched using Black Rose that he synchroed on his opponent's turn with. So definitely a really cool way to dodge the evenly matched there, in my opinion. So this next replay here is titled The Comeback, and it's titled The Comeback for a good reason, because we have a pretty insane comeback. Here we're playing against, I believe, Invoked Sky Striker. So getting started with the normal engage into the Hornet Drone shenanigans that you've seen several times in a deck like Invoked. Teching a small Sky Striker engine, but you can see he has Ray in hand as well. So playing for some reason a much bigger Invoked package or Sky Striker package, and is able to end on the Mechaba, Caliga, and a set strike, but Mechaba with no cards in hand, and no cards in hand because he wanted to make the Caliga, and he had to use the Alistair in hand as well, which will also lose him the opportunity to be able to protect any of his fusions in the battle phase, which I didn't realize at the time, but I could have normal summoned this and just ran over the Caliga. And there's not much he could have done, and I could have just continued to play as normal. But I play it a bit conservatively here, using my Snake and setting the Giant Rex and passing it back to him. So yeah, rather interesting board. A Mechaba with no negates and a Caliga that can't be protected. But he's going to pass it back to me after topping a Foolish Burial Goods. I'm going to use a Nessie, draw into another Phantasme, and pass it back to him. He's going to go into battle phase, clear the Giant Rex like I was hoping he would, and set a copy of There Can Be Only One. I'm going to go ahead and summon Block Dragon here, and bring back the Giant Rex, and that will run over the Caliga no problem. And now we're going to attempt to clear the Mechaba with the Nightmare Cerberus. He's going to use the Solemn Strike there, so won't be able to clear it, unfortunately. He's going to use Goods and link everything off just so he can use his copy of Afterburner. He's going to flip up There Can Be Only One like I care, because my deck really can play through that card since we have so many different types to play around that card. And he tries to use the Afterburner on the Phantasme. I just negate by discarding O-Lion, ended up top decking the Sekka's Light, and he's just going to go ahead and concede right then and there. That was quite the comeback, since he did open up a pretty strong board, which I was feeling a bit iffy on the my ability to be able to play through. But the simple fact that I believe he overextended there is probably what cost him the game in the end. So here we have an an extremely interesting replay of BA versus Altergeist. And I apologize if there's a lot of BA replays as of late. It's just the deck that I've been playing the most on stream, because it's the deck I'm trying to hone like all of my focus into at the moment, because I plan on taking it to a few events in the upcoming future. But as you can see, this absolute madman opens up Imperial Order and a copy of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. And what do I open? To my dismay, double Sekka's Light. Yeah, the two of the entire 3 spells that I run in my deck, and this man sees 2 anti-spell hate cards. How convenient is that? So he's going to go into Almirage with the Sangant and link off into, the Almirage, like I said, and flip up the Imperial Order, play the Secret Village, and of course he's got the Multi-Faker there to be able to get out the Silcoitus. Luckily, I can still use Sekka's Light Graveyard Effect. I normal summon the Giant Rex, run over the Multi-Faker, and just go ahead and pass. Draws into another Impermanence, he'll take 700, and be able to set that Protocol off of that Marionetter. Revive the Multi-Faker, summon out Malusik, and then link into a copy of Hextia, and be able to add Konkuri. And now it just seems like at this point, I'm going to have a very hard time outing this field that he has. The Secret Village is negated, luckily, but again, he still has Imperial Order, so it's not like I'm in any better of a spot because of that. He's going to set another Impermanence and has Konkuri and Marionetter in hand. I'm going to use Sekka's Light just to get it in the graveyard. Of course, I know it's going to be negated, but I want to at least try to mulligan for another card. So I go into the Gigantes and the Giant Rex. Now, for those that don't know, Gigantes is a heavy storm when it is destroyed by battle. Now, I'm going to go into main phase 2 here after attempting to bait out some cards and, get into Cherubini to dump Rhino Warrior, to dump Graf here, to deck them a little bit more. But he does save that Impermanence for the right time to be able to negate the Cherubini, so it'll stop all my BA plays from going through. But here I go into Avermax with Block Dragon, so I'm hoping this might be enough. And he's going to use Marionetter to revive the Hextia. And it won't be able to attack over it just yet, though. He does have a way to potentially dodge the Avermax, and that's right here, is attempt to negate and destroy with the Protocol. But he has to tribute away the Hextia. And since Protocol destroys, and I made it with IP Masquerena, it won't get destroyed. So it's able to stick to the field here, which is going to be still prove to be very hard for him to go ahead and try to out. He's going to use Malusik to be able to clear the Block Dragon, but I'll get 2 searches off of it, so that's fine. Now, he's going to be able to use Protocol to negate the effect of Avermax that I have to use, but he has another card to tribute that isn't the Hextia, so I'll run it over for 100. Now, at this point, I have 2 Gigantes in my hand, And I should have summoned a Gigantes at this point to be able to try and crash, you know, to be able to blow up all spells and traps that he has. But the block dragon will put a lot of pressure on, so it'll make him bounce it like he would have done otherwise with the Gigantes. So I set the Limbic and just pass it over to him. He's got 200 life points left. He's not able to quite pay for that Imperial Order, so to get sent. We'll go to Malusik to send a card and take 500 direct. So his battle phase is over at this point, goes into Linkuriboh, and has just an absurd amount of cards to work with. But at this point, I still have a few good plays that I can make at this point. I'm going to go into battle phase. He's going to force to use the Linkuriboh there and just can't quite stop the little bit of damage that he's going to take, even with all the trap cards that he has at his disposal. That Giant Rex coming back turn after turn, coming in so clutch. What started out as such a grim look to a start of a duel ended up turning into a win, just because we didn't scoop immediately out of the gate. And so here, the next few replays I'm going to show you are a pair of replays that go together, games 1 and 2. It is more Marincess with Magician's Souls, thanks to Larry for submitting these replays here. So this is game 1, I believe, and it looks like he's going against Cyber Dragon, Trap Trick, and then I don't even know what this is. It just looks like a very weird deck. And that's Ygopro for you. So getting started with the Cyanet Mining, going for Fog King off of the Magician's Souls, which is just like so free to summon this card, and then goes into Marincess Blue Slug. This card should have made it so you had to send a Dark Magician card and not any level 6 or higher spellcaster. But I digress. So going for a typical Marincess combo here, going into Anemone, making that unaffected, and then linking all those off into another Marbled Rock after reviving the Crystal Heart. So has the unaffected Marbled Rock, and you know, using the effect to send 2 to draw off of the Magician's Souls. So coming in very clutch there. Able to go into Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Tries to play Sanctuary of the Parshat. That's going to get destroyed by the Olenoids. Going to flip up another Olenoids here to hit the set Lost Wind to revive another Olenoids. And the Chimera Tech Mega Fleet will run over the Olenoids for 1200. So getting started here again with the normal Marincess combo, normaling the Blue Tang, going into the Blue Slug. Lost Wind, of course, is going to activate here to reset itself back to the side of the field. And if we look at our opponent's hand, it has a copy of Nibiru using Magician's Souls to draw into a ton more cards. I mean, look how much cards he has in his hand right now. He has 8 cards. So now he's going to go ahead and opt to use the Nibiru after he makes the already unaffected Marbled Rock, so a bit late there on our opponent's behalf. But in a 0 attack Nibiru nonetheless. So he's going to go ahead and use the Canadia to try to book the Nepenthes, and that will go through, and also get a free Olenoids out of it. Setting a few back row here, and I'm going to use Monster Reborn to revive Magician's Souls, and you're going to attempt to try and draw multiple cards here. Lost Wind says otherwise, but he'll still be able to chain a Canadia, which will essentially give him a free Totally Awesome, and he'll go ahead and scoop because of that. So Magician's Souls opting to add a lot of versatility to a deck like Marincess. And we might go ahead and just see more of the same here in round 2 of Marincess versus whatever the hell this deck is. It looks like it might be some just weird Trap Trek deck. But going into Totally Awesome and setting a copy of Olenoids and Canadia and passing. So not the most stellar turn there, but nonetheless, getting access to Totally Awesome is a pretty good, you know, start to the turn. We'll go ahead and book the Cyber Dragon, but it won't matter too much since the, you know, Contact Fusion mechanic doesn't care too much about that. We'll swing in for plenty of damage, playing Sanctuary of the Parshath, which he's going to opt to clear here in the end phase, and bring back the Canadia instead of opting to hit the other 2 set back row. But he'll draw into a copy of Heavy Dust Storm, which is pretty nice considering the 2 back row that he has. He's going to Torrential Tribute all of those, and his turn will end, starting with a copy of Dionea and reviving the Myrmelio. That will attempt to pop the Heavy Dust Storm, and he'll follow up by chaining that to hit his other set back row, bringing back the Olenoids in the process. Going into Trap Trick Sarah now, which is a very solid card for a deck like this, and he's going to top deck. So he's going to end up top decking the copy of Mandarin, which isn't the greatest, but since he had a Ronin play to make, it actually will come in clutch here, since he's able to get access to Anemone and Sea Angel, and Mandarin being able to summon itself back out, to be able to make the Shooting Code Talker, which will allow him to attack multiple monsters, up to things that it points to, and to be able to draw a few cards in the end phase because of that. End phase, or not end phase, but main phase 2 going into Wonderheart, and then being able to Cyanet Mining for a Blue Tang for next turn. So Has a good bit of defense here. Unfortunately, wasn't summoned using Crystal Heart, so it is not unaffected by card effects. But it's still a 3800 boss monster that can negate attacks. Floodgate Trap Hole going to be activated on the summon of that blue Tang, but it'll still be able to get a card to the graveyard nonetheless. And then going into the battle phase here, using the summon effect of the Wonder Heart to be able to bring back Anemone, to be able to summon out the Sea Angel, or the one of his Marincess monsters, to be able to link into Crystal Heart, to be able to make the unaffected Marbled Rock. Still has that set blue Tang, which he won't be able to do too much about. He's going to normal summon the Nepenthes, and I think he's just going to scoop there. I don't know if there's much else he could have done, and I don't know how he can deal with this big 4500 unaffected by card effects monster at this point. So, Magician Souls, we didn't get to see it too much there, but still, nonetheless, a very solid card, not just being able to only be played in Dark Magician going forward, which, again, I think might end up being a problem with that card, is it's a little too generic in my opinion. See, a deck like this can simply tech Fog King to have access to it. It does add a Garnet, but I think the rewards far outweigh the risks. And the last replay I've got for you guys is titled The Trusty Steed, and for good reason. So this is actually a match, I believe, of BA, an older build of BA versus Pendulums. This guy, I end up always playing him on Ygopro, and he's always playing this really weird and interesting build of just like spell counter Endymion Pendulums, and you'll see what I mean is you just look at his opening hand. But this is a BA build that I was playing. Basically, the go-to board was just Avermax Beatrice Pass, which I've learned over and over again is simply not enough. Scarm End Phase for Tour Guide, and there we go. An indestructible, non-targetable Avermax with a Beatrice. So he's going to start doing a whole bunch of counter shenanigans, able to summon Mythical Beastmaster Cerberus from deck. Doesn't have enough counters, unfortunately, to be able to banish one of my monsters. And he's just going to go out and pen for 2 and pass it over to me. I'm going to go right into battle phase, clear both of his cards in normal Tour Guide in main phase 2. Not using the breakthrough skill there, but saving it rather for my opportunity to try and destroy his Servant of Endymion with this Nightmare Phoenix. But I'll still be able to revive the Sea Archiver and the Cherubini, who's going to go ahead and dump the Steam the Cloak, which is going to tribute off the Phoenix to be able to bring itself back out to help make Dante. And going into the Unicorn now, going to try again to clear that Servant, and this time it will go through. So he's got Pendulum Paradox, and he top decks Upstart for turn, which top stacks him into the Spell Power Control. And already having one counter on this is going to prove to be very, very good. And he'll put 2 more counters on it and gets himself a Servant right back, the one that I put back into his deck. Uses the Magister to go into the Daybreaker Shining Magical Warrior, interestingly enough. Mainly because it has a counter on it, and he's going to use that counter to his advantage. Going to go into the Mythical Beast Cerberus off the Jackal, and then summon out a Jackal King from deck. Play the Servant for more counters, banish the Beatrice, and just pass it back to me. Now, at this point, I've got to try my hardest to win this game right here, and now we're going to normal the Seer, so it dies to bring back Cherubini. Cherubini will just dump a free card to the graveyard to boost its attack, and we'll just quickly go up into Borrelsword to try to end the game as fast as possible, turn his Jackal King to defense, and just swing in with everything else for game. So, now, I've chose this replay for last because I want to bring up a bit of a discussion about Borrelsword. I've heard a few people saying lately that it should be banned, and I'm kind of starting to agree that it should be. I think the card does kind of facilitate games ending way too quickly, and it gives every deck sort of access to a quick OTK, option, simply for just no reason. Like, everything can just OTK now with this card. And it's so easy to make, even as a Link 4. It just ends games very quickly, and I think might at some point see a ban. I think it would be okay if it got a ban. I think it would be a balanced hit, but who knows if that will happen. So I'm going to show a few deck lists here at the end as per usual. Here is my current Block Dragon BA list. As you can see, it's very different from the one you saw there at the end. This list proved to be very good in my streams the other day. I'll go ahead and show you guys my current Marincess list, which I don't think has changed too much from the most recent profile. And I think that's really about it for some of the profiles that I could show you guys that were played in this video. Yeah, but that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. As always, when to kill, sign out. We'll see you guys in the next one.